thing is that there is a way to make it roll back, and it just happens that when she drives it, she very slowly presses the accelerator, and that's the actual way to actually make it roll back. So if you actually press the accelerator quickly or you let it go quickly, then it kind of engages the hill hold. But if you actually move the accelerator very slowly, that's kind of the way to turn that feature off, you know, and she thinks that it's a bug, but in actual fact, it's a feature.
That's just if you learnt that's how a car works, you would build that skill and drive it to that.
Yes.
But that's what I kind of mean. Everyone that's driving traditional cars right now have learnt to drive automatics because of the way the cars have evolved. That's just how we know them. If put it this way, if EVs, and I know it would have never worked this way, but if EVs were the first to be designed, right?
You would drive a totally different way.
You would think everything the way EVs drive without all this extra stuff would be the normal way. And by adding hill hold and all these other features and creeping, it all would have been added if there was a demand for it, if people actually wanted it for some reason. Otherwise, I don't think they would have in the evolution of driving a car.
If you think about it, like manual cars don't have hill hold.
No, exactly.
But there's no changing of pedals, just foot off, it brakes instantly.
And if in an emergency, your natural instinct will always be to go to the brake pedal. So as soon as you come off the accelerator pedal, you're already braking, and then you're applying friction brakes on top of the electric regenerative braking. So,
interesting concept. It feels quite different. Feels good. I don't know how to describe it.
This is the product we sell.
Yeah, okay.
So for off-road modes. See, what's really weird is if you just go to a stop, right, and you just go to a road mode, so in the left dial, if you just go to a road mode, magically you're no longer in one pedal.
Yeah, so now we're back on.
It's just a normal car from just a simple...
And then back to off-road mode?
Yeah, but you can't do it while you're moving.
So you got to stop again.
Because think about where your pedal position is.
Yeah.
If you go to a one pedal mode from a two pedal mode, think about what might happen.
Yeah.
You accelerating suddenly becomes braking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It will do it because I haven't got the software locking it out, but in our production you won't be able to, it just won't let you. It'll be checked.
Is this primarily marketed as an off-road product or an on-road product?
Off-road product.
Off-road. Okay.
Off-road product, and then we're going to do a towing product so they can use a regenerative braking for braking heavy loads down runs because they've got no engine brakes in these cars. So we want to fix that part of the market.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's cool. Very cool. A little bit unique.
My brother's got a WRX, and when you press the brake, if you let go of the brake, it holds the brake until you let out of the clutch or something like that. But the thing is that is a feature that they added later. It wasn't like that, you know.
No.
Like the original cars, if you don't take the clutch out and do the revs correctly, it rolls backwards.
And this is kind of what I mean by EV manufacturers right now are just trying to make cars feel more normal.
Oh, look, BYD has spent so much time and effort making the Shark drive like a petrol car, which I think is silly. You know, they're basically spending extra effort to make a car drive like something it isn't. You know? So,
devil's advocate on that, they do that because I think they do that because they want to sell cars, okay? And majority of the world are used to legacy cars. If they're used to getting out of a legacy car and jumping into an EV and they want to sell that car, it needs to be familiar to the person that's buying it. That's the reason. What I think that they could do to cater for both is actually make an option.
Yeah. I mean,
in the interface.
You know, Teslas have got an option to drive it does have a creep mode. The Volvo, you know that Volvo that I have, that one also has a creep mode. You can set it to either creep or to not creep. And I don't understand why BYD didn't just put the option. You know,
and that's what I mean.
I want it to drive like an EV, or I want to drive it like a petrol car.
Yeah, and I think people are going to first jump in and go, I want it to feel and drive like a normal petrol car, just because it's a brand new car and you want to drive it the way that you're comfortable. But I think as time goes on, if you got the ability to turn a particular driving style on and off, like pure EV or normal EV, you would try it and go, oh yeah, I'm not sure about that. But over time, you get used to it and then prefer it, I think, in the end.
Yeah, it is.
But without that transition, you guys will never know, put it this way. So every single person we've had drive the All Terrain Shark to try one pedal driving. Have we ever had anyone who hasn't liked it? Anyway, this is Alex's first drive with X mode, one pedal driving in the All Terrain Shark. Just giving him a feel of what it's like. He was reversing his trailer into his place in this car, and he kind of had a bit of a go, so we thought we'd give him a proper run out on the road without the trailer, so you get an idea what that actually kind of feels like. Run me through your thoughts. What's your first
impressions? I like it because I do use one pedal mostly when I'm driving.
Yeah.
I try not to use the brake pedal as much so I can get all that regen back into the car. So I'm liking it that I can keep using that, but I can come to a complete stop at a set of lights without touching the brake at all.
Yeah. Is it weird to be in a Shark that can do this?
It is.
And see, the only trouble that I've seen people have is that they take their foot off the accelerator too quick, and if you set the regen really high, then you kind of have a shock.
Skids a little bit, comes to a stop there. So, I think I think one pedal driving, it's an EV niche market, maybe. I don't know. Other manufacturers have said it in a spot. I know that China is trying to move away from one pedal driving. I don't know why. Did you see that doco?
Yeah, look, I think that a lot of people in China pump the accelerator pedal a lot, and that's one pedal driving doesn't really work very well if you do that.
Correct.
Slowly.
So that's gradually coming to a stop for regen. So right now, Alex is not using any brake pedal. This is all regen only. Enough power that the car's throwing stuff off the back seat.
Just off the accelerator.
Yeah. Don't actually touch the brakes.
So go around the corner and then.
Regen squealing.
But if you set it off to a lower level, most people don't have that much problem. Once you get used to not taking your foot off completely and go for the brake, then after a while you just want more regen. I had a friend that drove one that I did. I think it was a van. And he drove it around the block, and he said this thing needs more regen. And it already had enough regen that it had more regen than a Tesla, like nearly double what a Tesla would have. And he comes back and he say, it would be good if you could give it more. Because once you get used to it, it's a lot easier to drive.
Yeah, and you just want, once you've got the rhythm of the necessary movements on the pedal, you get to a point where you're like, I could switch to the brake pedal right now, or I could just have more regen, and this would be really easy to drive. In fact, every single person, so we've had people that have driven one pedal driving cars before, we've had people that have never driven a one pedal driving car before, they've gotten into the Shark, and by the time, like within minutes, they're already fully understanding, they're already used to it. In fact, their behaviour from the start to the end in kind of like a 5-minute drive just blends so well. They get to the end, they just know it. You don't have to tell them anything. Yeah, look, I'm not really sure, but I do think, if we can, like, I'll just give around this really quickly. I don't want to go into too much detail. So, engineering in Victoria, I spoke to someone. This was not an informal discussion. This was an informal, just to get an idea where we're at. Basically, for us to get one pedal driving kind of engineered, because we haven't messed with the brake system. So, for example, the brake pedal, the way the car brakes using regen on the brake pedal and boosted brakes on the brake pedal is unaffected by anything we've done.